What's up, guys? Want to come to you, talk to you. I guess I'm going to review Titans 25, but I kind of want to talk about maybe something more, I guess, philosophical. Ask a question, which you saw in the title, which is should we care about the history of characters? And I'm going to argue yes, definitely. Um, and in most circumstances, there's some like. Um, I keep saying this, but I reviewed Batman Damned, and in that you see um, that it looks like Thomas Wayne is cheating on Martha Wayne, which I didn't like. You know, I really didn't like that. I don't like when you change fundamental characteristics of people, but that's not in the main universe. So I was like, okay, okay, I'll give that to you. But yeah, so but this is but my biggest problems with this new Titans run is that Abnett doesn't get the characters right at all. But it is in the main universe. So I loved the first 22 issues of Titans, and then I loved the Titans Hunt, which came beforehand. Just excellent, so good. There were parts I didn't like in that, like Starfire wasn't part of it, Cyborg wasn't part of it, Beast Boy wasn't a part of it, Raven wasn't a part of it. I didn't like that because those characters are Titans characters, and I know that they were going for the more of the first wave of Titans with um, not with Robin, Kid Flash, uh, Aqualad, and Wonder Girl, and then a couple of their sidekicks like Speedy and Omen, and but I really enjoyed those. I was disappointed that some of those weren't on there, but I really enjoyed that in itself. And the reason that it worked really, really well is because the characters were excellent. The characters were excellently written. They got the characters of the people. Wally was Wally. We finally had Wally back. Dick was Dick. Donna was Donna, and it was so good. Just really excellent writing. There were a couple issues I didn't care for. It was more toward the end, but overall, it was so good. It was excellent. I really loved it. Um, and so when they dropped it, I was not very happy because Titans had been my favorite. It was the one that I looked forward to every week or every month because it was monthly. It was the one I looked forward to every month. It was my favorite. As soon as I got it, it was always the first thing I read because I love the Titans. Nightwing is tied for my favorite character. I love Dick Grayson, um, and I was super excited that Wally West was finally back in it, and it's the first time I feel like Donna Troy had been herself in a long time. Because before that, like uh, Donna had really um, not been herself. Like in the '80s series, like she's really this like sweetheart girl who loves her friends. She's like a big sister to some of them, and to her and Dick's relationship is amazing. Those two are really close. They're like a brother and sister. They take care of each other, and she's really like a motherly figure. She's a lot like Wonder Woman. And interestingly, one thing I loved about this issue is that she calls herself Wonder Woman. I was like, you are like you're not a girl anymore. You're Wonder Woman. Like, um, I think it's interesting that we can have multiple Flashes, where Barry Allen and Wally West are both the Flash. I think she's. I think there can be two Wonder Womans. She is a Wonder Woman. So I don't know. Maybe it'd be good to get her own um, name. That might be a good idea. But I really loved those characters, and apparently it wasn't doing too well. That's why it was um, almost canceled. So they gave it over to David Abnett, and it has been my biggest problem is that the characters are wrong. They're not the characters. They're not who they really are. Um, they're completely different, or at least most of them are. Beast Boy is close. Raven is pretty close. Um, Although I don't think Raven's really been understood since the 90s. Ever since New 52, Raven has not been Raven. She went from a pacifist to a girl that doesn't mind attacking people, which is a huge change. I loved the Raven in the past who didn't want to hurt people, who always wanted to do good. And I thought it was really awesome that we had a hero who was on a team with other heroes who only did good. She did not actually hurt people. I love that. That's my favorite part about Raven, is that she refuses to bring harm to anybody, and I love that. I love that. I think she's wrong philosophically, but I love the fact that she's so consistent with that. And I really hate that they've lost that part of her character because they wanted to make her more like some of the other characters, where she's okay with hitting people. They want to make her show her how powerful she is. But I'm like, if you can't show like how powerful she is as a person without changing her character fundamentally, then you're probably not a good writer. Just saying. Because there's so much that could be done with Raven without her actually like fighting people and hurting people. It's one thing to do it on like when she's fighting demons and stuff, like fighting Trigon. It's another thing when she's like punching people and like ripping people around and stuff like that. That's very different. So, but overall, like they kind of get the character herself. That's the biggest problem I have in this series with her, is that she's not a pacifist, which she hasn't been for a long time. So yeah, I'm kind of sad about that. But anyways, they don't get the other characters right, which are important. And so you have to ask, like, should we care about the characters? And I think yes. Like, I don't want my characters to just completely change every time somebody new is writing. Like it's not. One of the beautiful things about stories is getting to know a character, and when that character suddenly isn't that character anymore, but it's someone else, that just it doesn't flow well. And like everything that you've loved about that character no longer is. Like, so why should I even read about it? So like with this, Dick Grayson is not Dick Grayson in this. He might be closer to himself than some of the other characters. But let's do a more obvious one. Wonder Girl, Donna Troy is not Donna Troy in this comic book. All she cares about is fighting. Like that's in her entire personality in this the last 3 issues. She just wants to run in there and take people out. I'm like, okay, Donna Troy is kind of like that, but that's not who she is. Like she's not like this female jock who just wants to run in and beat people up. No, she's like this caring, loving character who is the glue that holds the Titans together. So while Dick and Wally and some Arsenal, I don't know, I couldn't remember Roy's name, or when they're fighting, or when Beast Boy and Cyborg are fighting each other, because they do. Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl is there. She's the glue. She's the calming person that unites the team. She sets people straight. Like might even beat it into them if she needs to. Like she's a strong woman who is ready to stop the conflict, and then help them heal and bring them back together. And I've always loved that about her. So for Dick, she's a sister that tells him when he's done something wrong, but is always there for him if he needs him. And then for like Raven and Starfire, she's like a big sister. She's been doing this for a long time, and she's ready to, help them learn how to be the heroes that they need to be. Um, and then for the next generation, like Miss Martian, because Miss Martian's much younger than they are. She's in the same age group as Tim Drake. For Miss Martian, she's definitely an older sister, a much older sister, and so I don't know that Donna has had a whole lot of what's it called, interactions with the Young Justice team. I haven't um, completely read that series yet. I have watched the TV show, which is amazing, but the comic series is what I'm more basing this on. I don't think she has as much to do with them as say like Corey and Cyborg and Beast Boy and Raven, but she's always welcoming, and that's one thing about Dick. Dick is very welcoming character in general, and he might not like why Miss Martian is in there, and I could see him acting toward Miss Martian in the way that he is in this book, if it made sense for Miss Martian to be in the position she's in, because and they explain that really well. They get trapped in this like cartoon or this TV land, which is really funny. So I did enjoy this issue a lot more than others. We'll get into the issue. I know we're like this late and haven't really gotten into the issue much. They're fighting. Some of the stuff didn't really make sense, but I was like, whatever, I want to get to like more of the character development, and they get trapped in this universe where they are kind of being forced to react the way the characters in the show react, and so they're actually being nice to each other for once, which is nice. And Miss Martian's like, I kind of understand, like you live in a world with Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and you're kind of afraid because you're just a regular guy, like you don't have any superpowers, and for you, like everybody else is much superior, and you're fighting to have to be the best you can be, and then and to be in charge of what you've been, because you've always been under Batman's shadow. You're just naturally under Superman and Wonder Woman's shadow because they're so much greater than you as far as power wise, because they have powers and you don't. And she's like, and so you're always fighting for control of your own life, of your own team, of your own destiny. You want to shape things your own way, but then she's a liaison from the Justice League. It made perfect sense. And so that's why he didn't like her. I do love the name drop of Corey in here. I love that because that needs to happen. Dick and Corey again. Let's go. I love. That's my favorite relationship in comics is Dick and Corey. Anyways, so I love that part. It made a lot of sense. It really did. I thought for the characters. The only problem with that is Miss Martian is much younger than them. She's not their equal as far as age-wise and experience-wise. They've been in the game a lot longer than she has. And so she's not as skilled as they are, even though she's much more powerful than most of them are. Because, I mean, she's basically Martian Manhunter, but younger and a girl. So, I mean, she's got all sorts of great powers, and she makes a great team member. A great team member. But she one they don't get the character correct, and two, she's so much younger. It doesn't make sense that she would be a liaison from the Justice League, nor does it they're unclear about what the liaison part means. And so, is she telling Martian Manhunter everything that happens? Is she just there to bring the Justice League if they need it? What is her purpose there? I don't understand that. But again, I don't think she would make the right person. A good person would be Red Tornado. That'd be awesome. Just like in the Young Justice, that would have been a great homage to that. Have him be the liaison that he's fighting. That would make a lot of sense. And just have Miss Martian as like the youngest member of the Titans, but she's been there longer than Steel has. And the other part, they don't get the character right. Like Miss Martian, I'm going to jump a little bit into her character, and it's that she, because of her past, being a white Martian, she's trying to be someone she's not, which is she's trying to be a green Martian instead of a white Martian because she's ashamed of what her people did to the green Martians. Just depending on the continuity of what she did, she could also be a green Martian. It just depends on which continuity. But basically, she wants to fit in. Either way, whether she's a green or a white Martian, what origin they're going with, she wants to fit in. She desires a family. Where you have Martian Manhunter who tries to fit in, but not really. Like he really is just trying to observe humanity, kind of hide in humanity. And you see a little bit development in the Justice League cartoon series where he ends up like completely distancing himself from humanity to the extent where he realizes, hey, like if I'm going to be a hero of Earth, I need to know the people. And so he goes on this sabbatical for a long time where he just lives among the people and tries to learn what it means to be a human. And I love that. That was great. But Miss Martian's always been the other. She loves family. She's a family kind of person, kind of like Orphan is in the Bat family. She needs to be around people. She wants people to like her, and so she is overly welcoming to people, to a fault. Because she wants people to like her. And you see that so well in Young Justice. If you haven't seen that show, excellent. You see how she's a little more preppy. She kind of like a young teenage girl. Of course, she's probably 19, 20 in this series, or she should be, because she's probably just graduated enough to be in the Titans. A little bit younger than Raven, only by 2 or 3 years probably in Beast Boy, because they're both pretty young. So real early 20s, and so she's probably still pretty preppy girl, wants to be friends with everybody. So it doesn't make any sense for her to be the way she is to Dick. Like she would probably take I feel like she would really take it personally that he doesn't like her if this was going down the way it is. So if there was a good reason for her to be sent by Martian Manhunter to join the Titans and not already be on the Titans, just based on the fact that she was on Young Justice and the Teen Titans, then if all that happened and we're forgetting all the history of her character, which if we forget it, like why would we even care about the character to begin with? Then she still would probably take it really personally that Dick didn't like her, and I don't think that she would. Maybe she might act somewhat the way she is, but I don't want to forget all that she's done. Like the reason I love the character is because of how well she's proved herself over the years. She was great in Young Justice, and I really loved. I really loved the character. Like I hate what they've done. Similar with Raven. And Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl, just so you know. What in the world? Who is that? It's obviously supposed to be Donna Troy. Looks nothing like Donna Troy. Like here. That's Donna Troy. That is not Donna Troy. They look nothing alike. Nothing alike. I will say they kind of get some of the quirks of Donna Troy right. The only problem I have, I know some people really love the bike, but why? She doesn't need a bike. She can fly. Like, if I could fly, that's all I would do is fly. I would fly everywhere. I'd be like, forget a car. I don't want a car. I can fly. It makes no sense for me to be driving around on a bicycle. I mean, maybe I would drive around a little bit, but, why would Okay, and then like when he splits up the group, this is the reason that the flying gets to me, because when he splits up the group, he's being carried by Miss Martian, while she's the person who can fly is driving a bicycle. I was like, why isn't he driving a bicycle and she just fly there? Also, I just noticed I love the wings on Beast Boy. That's really fun. Oh, here's a good example for Raven. She's so cocky. She's so cocky. Like, that's not Raven. Raven is the most humble person on the team, but she's super cocky. Like, maybe she's been hanging around Arsenal or something. But she's not a cocky character. Like, she'd be more like, okay, I'll try. She might say, I've got this, but stay calm. I will take care. But it's not like in a, I got this. Like, stand down. I got this on my own. It's more of a, hey, don't worry. I can do this. You know, more of a comforting. And I don't like the cocky Raven. That's not Raven. Raven is a very humble character. A good example is in Wolfman's current series, Raven, Daughter of Darkness. I love that series. It's really good. I will say, probably my favorite part of this issue was right here. This was so sweet. Like, she's mourning and Beast Boy's comforting her. These two have been around for a long time, like since the 80s. That's when, and so like they've known each other since they were teenagers, and I just love that Beast Boy is taking care of her. I love that. It was so good. If I'm not mistaken, they've had a relationship in the past, and so it's just really cool to see the two. Like, as soon as Raven is out of the fight, Beast Boy is there for her. I was like, I love it. I love it so much. I love the mature Beast Boy. He's so much better. That's probably the best part about this book is Beast Boy. Man, he's been so good. So I know I say a lot like that I don't really care for this series, and if they get somebody right, it's Beast Boy. He was maybe the only one that really needed to change. The others were just excellent. Like, Beast Boy's just, he can't be a kid all the time. Like, he's got to grow up a little bit. So when he's not a teenager, he might be still somewhat like he is, you know, constantly making jokes, but he's still going to be he's going to be be more serious sometimes. And you rarely saw that as a kid, and that's fine because he's a young teenager. He's like 13 or 14. You know, 13, 14-year-olds don't usually get serious very often. But once he's like in his 20s, like, it's time for him to be like, okay, I'm an adult now. Like, I don't have to act like a teenager. I can still have fun and make jokes all the time like he did as a kid, but they're going to be, you know, different. They're a little bit more mature. They're not so flippant or, you know, dumb, stupid. So I love Beast Boy in this. I think his makes a natural progression to what he's been needing for a decade or two, because every time we get a new Teen Titans, he gets de-aged. Him and Raven both. I guess because so many people love the character, but can't you just love them as adults too? Like, you know. So you know, I watched the Teen Titans show when it came out the first time, and I love that show. I don't like Teen Titan Go, but I love the Teen Titans. It was excellent. And I really love to see characters progress and get older and mature and be different. And I hate it when they just keep rebooting characters. I'm just like, oh, well, he's 13 again. Yay. I'm like, he's been 13 for 30 years. It's time for him to get a little older now. Like, come on. Like, if we didn't want Dick Grayson to be Robin for eternity, we want him to grow up and become Nightwing. And we want him to grow up and become Batman. That'd be great, you know? So, we want progression, you know? And I hate regression. to some extent, unless it's a good regression. Like I don't want them to just reverse the character and just change it without excuse. But it's kind of like in my Green Lanterns review. If you watch that, I think it was 54. They take Simon Baez and they make him go back to using a gun, which was amazing. Dan Jurgens is excellent on that. Excellent. So, you know, that's a good regression. Like there was a good story plot and point that pushed him back so that he regressed as a character, and it's leading to a restoration where he realizes, oh, like I was wrong to regress, to turn back into my shell. It's good to stay away from who I was to stay who I am now. So that's a good plot point of regression. What's not good regression is just a suddenly he's 10 years younger and acts 10 years younger without any explanation. So I hate that. So I'm torn over this. Like there are points of this. Oh, I didn't mention Steel. I really like the character. I think she's really cool in the book. She doesn't really do much in that. I think all they use her for is just like a tank. Like she just comes in and she's constantly attacking somebody and has very little character, which is sad because she looks like she has a lot of character. Like I love when she meets this little kid and talks to the kid. I was like, why can't she do that with all the other characters? Like, why is the only real moment we've had with this new character that seems interesting is when she's talking to this little kid? That's cool character right there. I like her, but she doesn't do anything else with the other characters. Like, and I think that kind of misses the whole point of Titans. Titans isn't the Justice League, and I've talked about this a number of times. The basis of the Titans is the relationships. The difference between Dick and Bruce doesn't like to admit that he needs other people. He needs other people, and he knows that he needs other people, which is why he created the Justice League. But what he doesn't want to admit is that he needs other people on a emotional level, on a personal level, which is why Superman always has to draw that out of him, which is why Wonder Woman always has to draw that out of him. They're like, no, we can take care of that later. Let's talk. Like, let's go hang out or something. Like, Bruce doesn't hang out. If he hangs out, he's in costume on top of a rooftop in Gotham. Actually, one of my favorite Justice League cartoon moments is when him and Wonder Woman are hanging out, and she's obviously crushing on him, and vice versa. But she just wants to sit up there and look pretty and talk to him, and he's just looking through his goggles while she's over here talking to him, and it's so funny. She's just kind of drawing him out, like you're gonna have to socialize with me because you're with me right now. And it's so good. It's so good. But that's Dick. That's Bruce. He doesn't do that. Dick does. Dick formed the Titans to be very different. He wanted to be different than Batman. So Batman doesn't personalize with his other people. It takes forever for half of them to know who he is, and a lot of the new ones don't know who he is. But Dick is the opposite. It took him a long time to tell everybody who he was, only because he didn't want to hurt Bruce. He didn't want Bruce and some of the others to be found out. But eventually, he did. And what's interesting about the Titans is that they go by their real names a lot of times. Unless they're on the field, they 90% of the time call each other by their names. They're hanging out. They're talking to each other, even as young adults in the Titans. Like they're friends. They're really close best friends, and a lot of times they act like brothers and sisters. And so that's why I love the Titans, because they're a family. Like the Justice League, they're friends, but more of a coworker type friend. Like they see each other all the time. They work with each other, so they trust each other inertly. But other than a few relationships here and there with like the Trinity and maybe one of the other two, get close. You don't really see anything in a personal level because they're all professional. But the Titans, very unprofessional, very family oriented, and I love that. I love that. It's one of the reasons I love the Fantastic Four, because they're a family and they act like a family. And so when you don't treat the Titans like a family and you treat it like the Justice League, the Titans doesn't do well. It doesn't feel like the Titans because it's not the Titans. It's similar to the Teen Titans. Like, if you don't make the Teen Titans about a whole bunch of teenage drama, then it's not the Teen Titans. Like, they're teenagers. They don't care about acting professional. They only care about what teenagers care about, which is usually about like relationships and stuff with each other. Like, how are we hanging out with each other? How are we as a group? Stuff like that. So that's the fundamental difference between the Titans and the Justice League. I say it all the time, and I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but I love the Titans. The Titans and Teen Titans are my favorite superhero groups ever, and because they're a family, because of that personality. And I hate when people don't get the character correct. I don't need everything about the character right. Honestly, the look matters much less to me than the character itself, like the person's character. I think it's really because, like, your character is who you are, and I don't like it when people aren't who they are. I don't like movies where people don't remember who they are. Like, I had a really hard time in what's that show called? That Fairyland show. I forgot. I don't remember what it is. It's like Snow White's daughter. Something, I don't know. I had a hard time with that first season because nobody knew who they were. I hated that. After the first season, that was fine. And then other shows where people lose their memory, I hate it. Can't stand it because, like, I want people to know who they are. I like it when people act and be who they are. I don't like it. Anyways, this is a long review. I know that I talked a little bit about this. I enjoyed this issue a lot more than others, mostly because they focused more on the relationships than just the talking about the objective. And I will say, I like the art. Like, if nothing else, like, that's a really great Miss Martian. Just really well done. Some of the art is maybe a little cartoony. I don't really care for. Look, there we go again. There's Beast Boy taking care of Raven. Love it. Love it. Love me some Beast Boy and Raven. That's the first thing he does is take care of her. I love it. Too good. I loved kind of the goofy TV Land type stuff. That was fun. I didn't mind what Donna Troy was going through. That was fun. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I'm really sad to see how it's being written right now. I think if they I imagine it'll probably get better from here. So I'm going to hold on and hope for the best, because now that those relationships are repaired in this issue, we can finally move on from that being the plot point. And yeah, so let me know what you think. What do you think of all that? I know it was a lot. This is a long video. Do you think that it matters whether people are that their character stays the same, at least for the most part? I'm not saying characters can't change and become different over time, but I want good reasons for them to change. Maybe one last example that just came to mind: Batgirl gets shot in The Killing Joke, gets crippled, becomes Oracle for a long time, gets to the point where she doesn't even want to be out in the field, and then suddenly she gets healed and is now running around as Batgirl again. And it doesn't make any sense because she's progressed past Batgirl. So she regresses to Batgirl after Barbara Gordon has already moved beyond Batgirl. She doesn't need to be Batgirl anymore because she does more good as Oracle. So I don't like it when characters are just changed as editorial decisions without like making sense in the story. So that's what I don't like. And there's some changes I don't like, some changes I do like, but that's the part I don't like. I probably would have liked Raven better if they had explained why she now is okay with killing or fighting, not killing, but fighting and not being a pacifist anymore. But as far as I know, they never did. So let me know what you think about that. Do you care? Did you enjoy this comment? Did you enjoy this video? Thanks for watching this whole thing. You know, it's a long video. Sorry about that. I really care about my Titans. And let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time. Peace.